there, Internet. I'm Annie.
I'm Kit.
And I'm Mac.
And this is I Will Fight You, a podcast where we've been turning opinion into stone-cold facts since 1986. Kit, what is today's fact?
Hellboy says trans rights.
Okay, yeah. That one was a surprise to us too, folks. Don't worry about it.
I stand by this and you will soon see why.
All right. Yeah, we're talking about the 2004 Hellboy. This is the first one by Guillermo del Toro. Not the, what was that, a 2014 Hellboy movie?
I think it was like 2018, 2019.
Right.
The David Harbour one, and then they just did another one like last year that had a budget of approximately $7.50.
Woof-a-doodle.
Which was based off of a volume of the Hellboy comics called The Crooked Man.
Oh, that's right. I remember seeing that name being tossed around.
Yeah. Which apparently it is quite a bit closer to the tone of the comics, but that may be the only thing it has going for it as far as I can tell.
Ouch. This is the movie that is directed by Guillermo del Toro. For context, this is a 2004 flick, so this is 2 years after he directed Blade 2 in 2002, and 2 years before he directed Pan's Labyrinth in 2006. So this is one of his first real big splashes in the American market.
Yeah, like he did Mimic, but that was very much like a niche horror film that also got executive metal to hell and back. So he's not proud of that one.
Now, I remember seeing this when this came out. I haven't seen it a lot since, but I mean, I'm a Del Toro girly. This man understands what I like.
Yeah, I think you could look at basically all of the podcast and be like, yeah, they'll like a Guillermo del Toro movie. They'll watch a Del Toro movie.
Yeah, this is Del Toro, the monster lover. He doesn't want to fuck the monsters, but he does want to gently hold their hands.
Yeah, he is desperately in love with them, and
specifically the creature of the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, he did make a movie about fucking the creature from the Black Lagoon.
I definitely saw the second one in theaters and it ruled. And I have read some of the comics, but it has been a while. I've done some Humble Bundles. I've got the whole fucking library queued up.
Annie and I both have the same pile of PDFs. The difference is that I've read them.
Exactly. And it's been a minute for me. Hellboy has been on my to-read list for years. I'll get to it at some point. Mac, what's your Hellboy experience?
The first time watching it was last night.
Bullshit!
No, really.
Excellent. Perfect.
But the problem being that the only version I could find for free was on Hoopla, and they didn't have closed captioning, which means I heard maybe half of what was going on.
Oh, no.
For whatever reason on Hoopla, whenever it was raining, people would love to whisper, and all I could hear was the rain.
Oh, we gotta rectify that.
Hang on, I also watched it on Hoopla, and it had closed captioning. Do they just turn those off for the United States? Are they like, maybe Americans don't deserve closed captioning?
Apparently.
Americans don't deserve closed captioning. I dug around and I could not find any closed captionings on my Hoopla version.
Ouch.
Jesus Christ, okay.
This is the fault of home box office maximum, probably.
Probably.
Which is now home box office maximum once more.
We are holding David Zaslav personally responsible for this fiasco.
Which, honestly...
Honestly, it's fine.
What isn't he responsible for? Kit, this movie was your pick, of course. What's your Hellboy experience?
All right, so I did go to see this in theaters when I was a kid back in 2004. Hey, y'all remember how evangelicals in 2004 were like, I'm not going to go let my child see a movie with the word hell in it? Yeah, I had some difficulty getting some of my friends to go see this movie with me, so I ended up seeing it with my dad and my brother.
Huh.
Absolutely adored it. For reasons that, upon reflecting upon my teenage self, I was like, yeah, that's kind of obvious. And then this is also the first DVD I ever bought with my own money, and I still have that DVD. I got it at the A&B Sound in Edmonton City Center, which is not there anymore, and is now a nightclub instead.
You know, time comes for us all.
Time comes for us all. I miss record shops.
There's one only a few blocks from me.
Nice. Take advantage of it. Patronize them frequently. And by patronize, I mean buy stuff from them, not make fun of them. You can also make fun of them, but also buy stuff. Anyway, I then got really into the sequel as well, because that was like only 3 years later in 2007. Then in about like early university age, started reading the comics. I have since read basically the entire run of the comics multiple times. This includes Hellboy, this includes BPR. Basically, they call it sometimes the Mignola-verse, but I hate the way that feels in my mouth, so I don't like to call it that. But basically, I've read the Hellboy expanded canon in the comics a couple of times now. I am currently on my most recent reread, which is going through all of the, like, not just like the Hellboy BPRD timeline, but also the spin-off comics where they do things like, hey, let's go check in on what the Crimson Lotus was up to in World War II. So I'm like 80% of the way through that. I am a Hellboy girly. I quite enjoy Hellboy, and I may end up like popping up with weird Hellboy comics facts during this movie, despite the fact that the movie does not follow the comics all that closely. And honestly, that's fine.
Yeah, this is a loose adaptation of basically Volume 1 of Hellboy, Seed of Destruction, which you'll hear them say Seed of Destruction a couple of times. That'll clue you in.
Extremely loose interpretation of, like, Volume 1, and honestly, that's about it. To be clear, Volume 1 of Hellboy doesn't have a whole lot in it, so that's not feature length if you adapt it 1-to-1. So Guillermo del Toro just ended up filling it up with the stuff Guillermo del Toro likes, which you will start to recognize if you've seen more than, like, 2 of his movies.
Oh, yeah. You know what Guillermo del Toro loves? He loves a room with a weird window. A weird statement window.
He loves a statement window.
Mood, man.
He loves clockwork stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He loves, like, soft gold lighting.
Yep.
Mood.
He loves, like, a masked character in a trench coat.
And we fucking get it.
He loves key colors.
Yeah.
And we fucking get it, Guillermo.
Honestly, we love that for him.
Yeah.
We love that.
Yeah, we fucking get it, my guy.
Everything that he does, like, Guillermo del Toro's, like, fingerprints are all over this. This is very much a del Toro movie about Hellboy. And apparently it's one that, like, he had been shopping this movie around since as early as 1997.
He worked with Mike Mignola basically in pre-production on Blade 2, because like a lot of the concept art for that movie ended up being Mignola. And then they started to like be buddies and decided they wanted to do this movie.
You have to understand that it was really hard to make a superhero movie before X-Men in 2000 and like Spider-Man shortly thereafter. Because, like, superhero movies before that were largely garbage, or they were, like, ash can movies to keep the rights, like Roger Corman's Fantastic Four in the 90s.
Like, Batman did well, but what people interpreted from that is like, oh, we should make a bunch of other 30s pulp character movies, which is how we ended up with The Shadow starring Alec Baldwin and The Rocketeer starring that chick what was in Labyrinth, whose name I forget.
Yeah, it's like, so you get...
Jennifer Connelly?
Yeah.
Jennifer Connelly, that's the one.
The hottest woman alive?
That's the one.
According to some of us.
Whose name I can never remember. I'm sorry.
Superhero movies were just very few and far between. They hadn't quite figured out how to make them click into a whole, like, mega franchise. So Hellboy, especially not a superhero, but a comic book movie, was very difficult to sell. One fun thing I found out looking this up is that one of the people that was in, like, Mignola had worked with Ron Perlman, who plays Hellboy, before, and kind of had him in mind for this the whole time. But of course, they shopped it around to a couple of other actors. One of the people initially offered the role of Hellboy was Jeremy Renner.
Oh no.
Hawkeye.
You know, weirdly, I can kind of see it.
Yeah.
I can kind of see it.
Kind of. Apparently, Renner turned it down because he was like, I have never read these comics. I have no attachment to this, which is very funny considering his career trajectory.
Sorry, Renner, you're going to be trapped in Marvel hell forever.
You're Hawkeye forever now. One other thing about, like, the way this movie looks is that Del Toro very much wanted to make a Ray Harryhausen style movie. And Harryhausen is one of the most influential people in special effects history. Like, in particular, his work in stop motion animation. If you've ever seen any old time movie that has stop motion animation, most famously like the Kraken, Jason and the Argonauts, that's Ray Harryhausen. He developed this shit. It all looked amazing. He was able to create these smooth, beautiful, textured characters that looked fantastic. And Del Toro even invited Harryhausen to teach the animators working on the effects in Hellboy, like, about what made his techniques really stand out. But Harryhausen was like, movies are too violent nowadays. No. Which is his right as an old-ass man.
Yeah, I guess that's his right as an old man, but also, like, come on, man, we've seen the movies you did.
Oh, yeah, but also, like, you can see that Harryhausen style all fucking over it, and it's like, Del Toro is such a stop-motion guy. Like, he finally got to make Pinocchio a couple of years ago. This dude loves stop-motion, and you can see that in the way that, like, the animation looks, what he was going for, the way that he directed his animators to do some of these visuals was just great.
This is a movie that has a very lovingly animated giant squid, and it wants you to know that it has a very lovingly animated giant squid.
I did love the giant squid. It was a good giant squid.
It's a really good squid.
So the cast that we've got here, we have Hellboy, played by Ron Perlman, who has been doing monster lover shit forever.
We're talking about the Beast from that Beauty and the Beast TV show with Linda Hamilton in it.
Yeah. And I mean, if you've seen Ron Perlman in one thing, you've seen him in everything, and you love seeing him in everything.
Yeah, like, oh, that's my friend Ron. We love Ron.
Yeah, it's Ron. Ron's here. Hooray! John Hurt plays Broom the Professor, which, looking him up, like, obviously John Hurt's had a million roles. I didn't know he was the voice of the Horned King in the Disney's Black Cauldron adaptation, like the Prydain movie.
As I recall, he was also Aragorn in that animated Lord of the Rings
movie. He
movie.
was. Of course, he also played the War Doctor in that Doctor Who special. You know.
You know, the one that definitely ended up mattering so much.
Don't they all? Don't they all matter so much forever?
We brought Gallifrey back, and then a couple seasons later we killed it again. Don't worry about it.
Listen, stop shaking up the lore of Gallifrey. I'm putting my foot down. It never works.
Yeah, either keep it dead or keep it around. Don't keep doing this yo-yo shit.
We have a POV character that was invented for the movie, a new guy to the BPRD, whose character name is John Myers. He's played by Rupert Evans, who you may know as the dead dad what got stung by a bee and died from Bridgerton, and the grocery guy boyfriend from The Boy. You know, Brahms the Boy 1.
Apparently he's also in Bridgerton. I haven't watched Bridgerton. I couldn't tell you where he is.
He's the dead dad what got stung by a bee and died from Bridgerton.
Oh, I thought you were talking about some other movie.
No.
That's how much this guy slides off your fucking brain. You can tell me what he's in and I'll immediately forget that he was in it.
Liz Sherman is played by Selma Blair, who you may remember as Vivian, the mean girl turned best friend in Legally Blonde / girlfriend. Definitely a girlfriend.
Definitely a girlfriend. That's a gay movie.
And also, like, Kit, do you want to explain the fun thing about Abe Sapien here?
All right, so Abe Sapien physically is played by, it's our friend Doug. It's Doug Jones.
It's
you know
Doug Jones!
Yay, Doug! We love you, Doug!
We all love Doug. However, the voice acting for him in this first movie was done by David Hyde Pierce, i.e. Niles from Frasier. However, David Hyde Pierce ended up just basically doing all of Doug's line reads. Like, he would get the footage of Doug doing the line, and then he would record his version, but it was just Doug's line with his voice. So he just decided, hey, I'm not going to be credited on this. You should credit Doug, because I'm not doing much of the actual work here.
Yeah, like, he refused to take credit. He didn't even perform press tours or attend the premiere because he just had so much respect for what Doug Jones was doing. And you have to understand, like, Doug Jones had basically had one major speaking role before this, and that was the zombie from Hocus Pocus who had like 2 lines at the end of the movie when he got his mouth unstitched.
I've waited centuries to say that.
And here he did everything, and to the point where in Hellboy 2, they were just like, fuck it. Doug Jones gets to do this, and we're putting Doug Jones's voice in the movie.
As I recall, Doug Jones even did the voice acting for Abe Sapien in the animated Hellboy movies as well.
He did. Doug Jones is great in this, and it's so cool that he got recognized for it. Oh, I love Doug Jones. He's the nicest guy in the world who plays the biggest amount of creeps.
Yeah, we like Doug. That's our friend Doug. We like him.
It's Doug.
That's our friend, Doug.
It's Doug. Anytime you see a movie and there's a monster doing something kind of funky with its hands, that's probably Doug.
That's probably Doug. Is there a big gangly monster thing? Oh, you know that's Doug.
Yeah, you know that's Doug in there.
That's Doug in there. You guys want to get into this?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
There's the theatrical cut of this movie, and there's also quite a popular director's cut to the point where a lot of streaming services end up just using the director's cut, but they don't label it as such. Basically, the way you can tell which cut you ended up watching, if Rasputin has eyeballs, you're watching the theatrical cut. If in the scene where he first appears in the pool of blood, you see Elsa say, "What did they do to your eyes?" That's the director's cut.
Oh, I guess I watched the theatrical cut then.
Yeah, I will point out a couple of things that they changed for the director's cut for this, but I ended up watching on Hoopla also the theatrical cut. And again, I couldn't tell until I got to the "what did they do to your eyes" bit. And I was like, oh, he's got eyeballs. This is the theatrical cut.
Okay, that would make
There's not a huge structural difference. The director's cut just has like a couple of extra scenes. The theatrical cut has a lot of like explainer ADR in it, because this was before Guillermo del Toro was Guillermo del Toro, and the studio was able to be like, no, you should cut this and then put an explainer in an ADR later and make the whole movie a lot less subtle.
I just now realized that guy was Rasputin.
But
Mackenzie.
that was a whole... That's
a whole thing in the movie where they're like, that guy's Rasputin.
Okay, well, it was raining in that scene.
It was raining, and there was no closed captioning, so I heard them call him Grigori, but my brain wasn't like, my brain was like, that's just a Russian name. He must be a Russian guy.
Okay, well...
Okay, Mackenzie, for reference, that guy was Rasputin.
That will recontextualize some of this for you.
That recontextualizes a lot of things.
So for anybody who didn't catch it, yeah, that guy's Rasputin.
We'll get to that.
The actor playing Rasputin is one of Guillermo del Toro's special little guys. As I recall, he was also in Blade 2.
Okay, so you know what I love about a movie? I love it when a movie starts that is asking me to buy into some truly ridiculous shit in a big text blocks on the screen. I love it. I both hate and love it when a movie does that, and usually that depends on how long the text box is and how long it's been on screen.
This one's a fairly short quote. It's about the Ogdru Jahad, the 7 gods of chaos, who are out there floating in space ready to start the apocalypse.
In the coldest regions of space, the monstrous entities, the Ogdru Jahad, the 7 gods of chaos, slumber in their crystal prison, waiting to reclaim Earth and burn the heavens. Des Vermis Mysteriis, page 87. All right.
Cool.
It's like, listen, buy into that. Let's go.
Yeah, you just need that information for later. Don't worry about it.
And then we get a voiceover that is going to try and kind of tie the themes together here, which is, what is it that makes a man a man? And that's Broom there that is saying that aloud.
Yeah, that's John Hurt. That's John Hurt's voice.
That's John Hurt. He'll ask a couple of questions, then he'll be like, anyway, let me tell you about my son.
Let me tell you about my special boy. We found him in a fucked up island off the coast of Scotland during World War II.
1944.
Yeah.
Broom was 28, a paranormal advisor to President Roosevelt, because the Nazis are doing occult shit. And I love it when Nazis do occult shit and then die.
I love a movie where there's occult Nazis, the actual historical record of Nazis getting into occult shit. I mean, like, they were into it, but whether they were massively into it...
Hitler was into it, but, like, whatever.
Whether they were as massively into it as all the movies like this like to portray it is debatable at best.
So we have a young Broom with a whole bunch of soldiers that are attacking this island in the middle of the night. It's raining, and they are attempting to ferret out this Nazi cell. Broom tries to get the soldiers some rosaries, and is like, the only thing I need is this, and gives them a gun. But Broom's like, no, I abhor violence.
I would just want to point out that the guy they've got playing young Broom in this is uncanny. Like, I don't know if there was some kind of government cloning project that they just made a young John Hurt for this.
Seriously.
But, like, the voice, the face, everything. It's like, that's John Hurt. That's a baby John Hurt. How did you do this?
That's just little John Hurt.
That's like the actress that they got to play young Christine Baranski in Mamma Mia 2. You're like, how did you do this?
As the soldiers are going through the island, Broom explains that the island is like, oh, it's the ruins of an abbey that sits on an intersection of ley lines. God, I love it when things sit on an intersection of ley lines.
Only good things happen when an abbey sits on an intersection of ley lines.
Like, you have to understand that a lot of, like, the Nazi occult clockwork shit, there is some of that in the comic books. A lot of this in this particular origin is Del Toro being like, you know what I love? You know what I love doing? I love fascists getting fucked up by the consequences of their own actions.
And also a big thing that spins. You gotta have a big thing that spins.
I love it when a big thing spins. This is Del Toro just making some indulgent shit, and we love him for it.
We're happy for him.
We find the Nazis. We find a weirdo that Broom identifies as Karl Rupert Cronin.
This is a comic book character. I will point out in the comics, he's pretty different. For one thing, he can speak. And for another thing, he's just kind of like a very flimsy sort of scientist character. He is not, as we later find out, a clockwork ninja zombie.
He's Hitler's top assassin, head of the Thule Occult Society. He's got a mask that obscures his entire head with a little Nazi hat perched on top.
Honestly, it's a good look. As far as like cool-looking horrible fascists go, this is like the premier cool-looking horrible fictional fascist.
Yeah, I mean, they did design the Third Reich uniforms to be very visually striking, and that means that, wow, they sure look cool, and now they're a target because fuck Nazis.
Fuck Nazis.
Yeah, they sure look cool. Also, we did not make these at all practical for invading
Nope.
Russia in the winter.
Nope.
And it turns out that that has come out very poorly for us.
So there's a big spinning thing. It's clearly going to be some kind of Stargate. We've also got a bald guy with a big fur coat and no shirt, like the Russian version of Imhotep in The Mummy.
We love a Russian version of Imhotep with a beard.
He's even got a horrible magic book.
And a big glove thing. We love a big glove thing.
Oh my god, he's got a big glove thing with a whole bunch of just, like, glass bulbs on it. He's handing this book to this, like, blonde woman, this blonde Nazi, and he's like, no matter what happens tonight, this book will guide you back to me. And she looks at him like she wants to fuck him right there.
Yeah. This is Elsa Hofstein. She is also a character from the comics. She was not Rasputin's lover in the comics. She was, in fact, the lover of not Dracula.
You'll get that. This guy in the coat, he will be referred to as Grigori for a little while here. So Grigori says he's granting her everlasting life, youth, and the power to serve me. And they're like, hey, Grigori, are you ready or what? And he's like, I promised Herr Hitler a miracle. I'll deliver one. This is a slightly paraphrased line from the comic book. Because Grigori is going to open a portal and summon the Ogdru Jihad, the 7 gods of chaos.
Hey, that's how you win a war, is by summoning 7 ancient Cthulhu gods to destroy the planet. Which, to be fair, is not the worst idea the Nazis ever had, but it's pretty close.
Hey, you know what's great? I bet 7 ancient evil gods of chaos are going to love mortal agendas.
They definitely will. That's proven through every time there are 7 ancient evil gods in anything.
It's just every time.
Every time they love it.
Every time you get it. They're like, hey, I would love to learn about your mortal agenda. So he puts on that big gauntlet full of fuses and activates the spinny thing, and it turns into a wormhole that's a portal out to deep space.
This movie does not waste your fucking time.
No. You remember that crystal prison it mentioned in the opening thing? Let's look at it.
Yeah, let's spend quite a bit of time looking at that. This is the Ray Harryhausen sort of shining through here.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a big eyeball.
That's creepy, right?
Yeah, we love a big eyeball.
Yeah, kind of. It is, honestly.
It is kind of creepy.
Broom and the soldiers are observing this. Some Nazis get wise to them, and then one of the soldiers just is like, all right, screw it, and chucks a grenade into the Nazis.
Why the fuck not? Let's just, the portal's open, whatever's happening here, probably not good. Just start shooting.
So chaos erupts. Not the chaos god chaos, regular mortal chaos.
Regular mortal chaos. Lots of shooting, lots of grenades and stuff. You get Cronin, who gets shot multiple times and just kind of shrugs it off, and then pulls knives out of his sleeves, because this movie knows what it likes. What it likes is a guy in a gas mask and a Nazi trench coat stabbing people with Assassin's Creed knives coming out of his wrists.
Benny. Broom, in the battle that follows, manages to get a grenade, chuck it directly underneath the portal where nobody can reach it, and in the explosion, Cronin is thrown back against a pillar and speared with a chunk of iron, and, well, the portal kind of explodes. And Grigori is still hooked up to it.
Yeah, it doesn't go well for him.
This is like such Harryhausen, like claymation shit. Grigori is pulled into the portal with pieces of his flesh popping off like ping pong balls, like drips of him, until his whole body is sucked in.
He's getting Play-Doh'd through this portal, and then he just kind of gets folded backwards at the spine and sucked through. It's gnarly.
It rules.
It rules.
And then the portal collapses inward, and they're like, oh, it's over. And Broom's like, nah, that was open really long. Something probably came through. Also, Krona's just gone.
Yeah, Krona's just gone. There's not even any blood, and we'll find out why later. And also, like, we didn't get a squid monster, but we did get something, probably.
And they're like, oh gosh, something came through, but from where? Let's immediately cut to a stone relief of hell.
Yeah, this is why I sent you guys the Doomstone. I went to the Minster in York earlier this month, which is this great big cathedral in York. And down in the crypt, they have this thing that I took a picture of called the Doomstone, which supposedly depicts the entrance to hell. And it's just this gnarly, horrible, like, carving of, like, demons packed upon demons. Like, it is a bunch of demons, and then in the negative space of the carvings, there's even more demons. It's great. You could probably get human blood on that thing, and nothing bad will happen.
No, you should touch it. You should touch it and prick your finger and smear your own blood on it.
It's fine. Listen to the whispers of the Doomstone.
It'll be fine.
Don't worry about it. These carvings are not uncommon, so they're in a crypt now of this old abbey, and there's more Doomstone shit on the wall. As they're talking about, well, do you think hell is real?
The guy's like, so who's the dude got Platoed into a portal? You called him like Grigory or something? And he's like, oh yeah, that's Grigory Yefimovich Rasputin. The mad monk himself.
It proceeds to explain how he was supposedly murdered and then poisoned, shot, stabbed, clubbed, castrated, and finally drowned. This is not necessarily in real life because Rasputin was some kind of like powerful sex god. This is simply because he was being murdered by people who figured they knew how to do murder because they've read books. So they were extremely bad at killing him.
Oh, those Russians.
Rasputin was also basically just like a faith healer asshole. He was not Christopher Lloyd, who sold his soul to kill the Romanovs or whatever. He was just a very charismatic asshole who didn't know shit.
Didn't bathe much, apparently.
Wasn't even a monk.
Anyway, this is a different Rasputin. This is Hellboy Rasputin, who is an immortal mad monk sex god.
Right. And he's gone, but there's some movement near the Hellstone, like a weird little red ape thing with a huge red stone hand bigger than the rest of him.
And the Americans, being Americans, pull guns on it.
And Broom's like, no, let me just give him a candy bar. Here's a baby Ruth. Hey, look, you want a candy bar? You want a candy bar? And he does want a candy bar.
Broom, why did you bring a baby Ruth to the Scottish Island? Like, they didn't even have baby Ruths in Scotland. You had to bring that from the States.
They got peanuts in it. That's good protein. The weird kid eats it, and then he coaxes it into his arms, gets a blanket, and it's like, he has eaten the baby Ruth. He will never return to us now.
Oh, that's paraphrasing also from the comics.
Oh no, nobody actually says that. That's just me. And Broom's voiceover comes back on and he's like, an unready father for an unwanted child, which is just a great line. And he's like, the boys gave him a name that very night. His name is Hellboy.
Which in retrospect was not great.
And then it's like all the soldiers gather around with Broom in the middle with this little kid, and they take the picture from the comic book of all the soldiers. And the soldiers also all now have rosaries wrapped around their guns and helmets, which I love as a little note.
Yeah, they're all just hedging their bets now.
Yeah. And there's Broom in the middle, and there's Hellboy. It's Hellboy. That's his name. He's a little red guy with...
He's a little red guy.
Tail and horns.
He's our little guy.
And a big weird hand.
And a big weird hand.
And we hit our title sequence that's all these, like, newsreels and periodical hoaxes and stuff. I love it.
Yeah. This is one of the main differences between the comics and the movies, by the way, is that in the movies there is a masquerade. Hellboy is supposed to be a secret. In the comics, Hellboy was on the cover of Life magazine in, like, 1952 and was given honorary human status by the UN. He's a public figure and has been for, like, by the time the comic starts, like, 40 years. So the people in the Hellboy comics just live in a world where there's a big red guy where if you got ghosts, there's a non-zero chance that this big red guy will show up at your front door and ask you about it.
So, Moldavia, modern day, up in the mountains.
You got a Sherpa taking these two, let's say, masked figures. We know who they are.
We know who they are.
They're in big parkas, but yeah, it's the Nazis.
It's the Nazis. And they head up to a shrine in the mountains, and they match up some carvings on a wall to the book that Rasputin was seen handing over in the previous scene. And then they get to a big stone labyrinth, because you know what Guillermo del Toro loves? He loves a big stone labyrinth.
He loves a big stone labyrinth.
Yeah, he even says that, like, he put Hellboy in a lot of mazes in this movie in particular to basically do a thematic theme of Hellboy having to choose the right path.
Yes.
Notably, this is a Minotaur-style labyrinth. There is only one path forward, but it takes a very, very long time just to navigate it. Theseus did not actually need any magic string to lead him out of the labyrinth. He just had to go.
He just had to be patient and not get eaten by a Minotaur. So they get to a smaller labyrinth, which is just a bunch of carvings in the floor. The Sherpa's like, okay, pay me, I'm getting out of here. And apparently they promised to pay him in gold. And what he didn't realize at the time was that he was getting paid in Nazi gold, because he proceeds to pick up this like little piece of gold and he sees there's a swastika on it. Then he gets hella stabbed.
Yeah, Cronin just stabs him because it's Cronin and Ilsa.
It's Cronin. We knew it was Cronin and Elsa.
Yeah, Ilsa, by the way, just has like... She has a 2004-ass fascist Karen haircut. I love it.
Oh, it's good. And red lipstick, because, yeah.
Obviously.
Yes, obviously.
The Sherpa falls over and his blood fills a good wedge of this relief carving, because, of course, the blood has to trail out of his body and into the middle and fill all the grooves. You know how this goes.
We know how this goes. And then it fills up the pool in the middle, and then what should come out of the pool but Guillermo del Toro's special boy covered in blood.
Rah, Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen!
And like I said, this is where you can tell whether you're watching the director's cut or the theatrical cut. Because in the theatrical cut, he opens his eyes and there's eyeballs. And the director's cut, you see him from the back. And then Elsa looks at his face and goes, "What did they do to your eyes?" Because the squids ate his eyes in the director's cut, I guess.
I do remember one of his eyeballs in particular getting Play-Doh'd out when he was being pulled in. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't be worried, because it actually does look rad as hell when he opens his eyes, and it is just this blood-covered body with these big staring eyes. It does look pretty rad.
Like, the theatrical cut isn't, like, all that much worse than the director's cut. It's just less subtle, and there's some stuff missing from it.
Meanwhile, we cut to a doctor's office where there's some scans going on, and two doctors that are conferring quietly, saying, like, "Have you told him yet?" "No." "You should." "Well, does he have any next of kin?" "This chart says he is a son." We're in an oncology center in New York, and Broom is very old.
Yes. In the director's cut, this scene goes a little bit differently, where you see him talking to the doctor who's telling him he has, I think it's stomach cancer, which is, it's one of the worst ones.
Ooh.
Stomach cancer is just a really bad way to die. Broom is playing with a deck of tarot cards as the doctor is talking to him, and the doctor says, "You're welcome to seek a second opinion." And Broom draws the death card and goes, "Oh, I already have."
Oh, come on.
Everyone, please hold your usual correction about how the death card does not literally mean death. We know.
Lucas, can you grab me an audio bit from the shitty movie Tarot from a few years ago,
yeah.
with the girl that's like, "Sometimes the death card just means death."
How about no?
Anyway, it's near Halloween. Broom is walking the streets of New York. There's like kids running around doing, shit kid stuff during Halloween. And we pass by, of course, an electronics shop with TVs in the window because it's 2004 and those still exist.
I'm not even sure they totally do, but we love it.
We love a TV shop.
And Guillermo del Toro loves like mid-century shit, and that includes expository TVs and windows.
Yes, which is currently on like some talk show or other in which Jeffrey Tambor playing Director Manning, aka every Jeffrey Tambor character. He played it in Muppets from Space, but it's just the Jeffrey Tambor character who's the director of, I think he's supposed to be like deputy director of the FBI in this.
He's the FBI head of special operations.
That's the one. And they brought him on to talk about the latest Hellboy sighting, which he rightfully points out, how come none of these photos are ever in focus?
And they're like, "Well, why don't you tell us about the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense?" And Tom Manning is like, "Let me tell you about the Bureau for Paranormal Research and Defense. There is no such thing as the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense." Cut to exterior, day. The Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense, Newark, New Jersey. Slug line. The Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense, Newark, New Jersey.
Cleverly disguised as a waste processing facility.
And here comes our POV character, John Myers. This character is going to be in this movie a lot, but he is a nothing burger. He will slide right off your brain.
Yeah, I mean, you look at him, he just slides right off your brain.
He's nothing. He's a guy who's here to be our POV character so things can be explained to him about the story that he has just been dropped into the middle of.
He is so indistinguishable from the red shirts in this movie that you will think he has been killed multiple times, and then it turns out he wasn't.
It's true.
He's nothing. He arrives, he's like, oh, I'm John Myers, I'm a transfer from the FBI, and the waste management placard outside flips down, turns into a sci-fi security thing that scans his eyeball and whatever. You know how this goes.
Yes.
He goes in, there's the BPRD logo with the hand and the sword there in the middle of the floor. It's great. That's the thing from the comic book.
That's the thing from the comic books. It's great. We love that.
There's a guy behind the desk who's like, you're late. Watch your hands and elbows. And of course, the BPRD logo descends into the floor as a secret elevator.
Yeah, because another thing Guillermo del Toro loves is a non-OSHA compliant elevator.
There are no railings.
No railings! He's not even in a chute.
And like it opens into this big brutalist architecture pit.
Yeah, it's just a big pit. He's not even in an individual like elevator chute. It is just...
Even video game elevators where you're supposed to have fights while you're waiting for the level to load, like, even those have railings.
Oh, God. And there's multiples of these.
Yeah. So he goes down, and then we enter one of the main sets of the movie, which is like, Guillermo del Toro loves really cluttered, beautifully busy sets. So this is this lush library. It's filled with stacked books, comfy chairs, leather upholstery, desks, books stacked everywhere. There's these statues of angels striking down devils. If you've seen Guillermo del Toro's like personal library, it's very similar.
Yeah, it's all beautifully lit with this warm golden light.
Yeah, it's all gold and red in here with the exception of a wall that has two big windows that look out onto a blue tank. There is so much about the lighting in this movie, especially once we hit this part and go forward, that is just gorgeous.
Because Guillermo del Toro loves color symbolism.
Yeah, even the night scenes that we'll see later, nothing here is shot as though it is realistic, but it is shot as though it is like interesting to look at and that the colors mean something.
And of course, the blue part is the space that doesn't belong to Professor Broom because it belongs to Abe Sapien, our friend the Fishman.
Our friend the Fishman!
We love the Fishman.
He reads 4 books a day. Please turn the pages on the lectern.
He can't turn the pages. He's in a fish tank.
They're wet. He's got wet hands. He can't turn the pages from in here, and he would like to just be in a tank for a while. Please turn the pages.
He eats rotten eggs.
Usually, the person who turns the pages for him, and yes, feeds him rotten eggs through a pneumatic tube, love that, is Broom, who is also here, just kind of standing quietly behind him.
How did they get him into this shot? Did they lower him by rope? The shot spins around Myers, and I don't know how they got John Hurt into this shot.
I mean, honestly, if I was building a library like that, I would put at least 5 secret passages in there.
Oh, absolutely.
Broom also explains that, yes, this is Abraham Sapien. We found him in a children's hospital in Washington. His name is taken from a sign that said Ichthyo Sapiens, April 14th, 1865. And well, that's the day Abraham Lincoln died, so he's Abe Sapien. He's also psychic.
He's also psychic. He's not psychic in the comics. He's just psychic for this. His personality is also quite a bit different in the comics, but Guillermo del Toro gave both Hellboy and Abe a bit of a tweak to make them contrast against each other more.
Yeah, and also, sometimes you just want Doug Jones to be just Doug Jones it up.
Yeah.
And that means he's going to be approachable, but a little uncanny.
Such as when he knows that the scar on your chin happened when you were 10 years old and you still wonder if it's ever going to fade.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Myers is like, so what exactly is this place? And Broom says, well, there's an inscription in the lobby. In the absence of light, darkness prevails. And then he says the coolest shit.
There are things that go bump in the night, Agent Myers, make no mistake about that, and we are the ones who bump back. That was a trailer line in every single trailer. They had to cram that line into every single trailer.
And they were right to do that.
And they were right to do it. Also in the director's cut, he lists off the Latin version of the motto first and then translates.
What I love about this fucking line is that, like, it is in every single trailer, and you know how sometimes that just, like, makes the whole line just feel like nothing. It wears you out on it. This one hits every time.
Yeah, it's fun. It's enjoyable, especially since it's John Hurt doing it. I mean, John Hurt can take some of the cheesiest fucking lines. As long as it's him doing it, you're like, okay.
John Hurt can tell me about Gallifrey and I'll give a shit. So Broom takes Myers to a long hallway with some relics in glass cases along the way, and he gives him a timeline. 1937, Hitler joins the Thule Society, occultist. 1938, he found the Spear of Longinus. 1943, Roosevelt fights back and makes the BPRD. 1958, he says the occult war finally ends with the death of Adolf Hitler. And Myers is like, you mean 1945? Hitler died in 1945, and Broom says the line that you are waiting for, that you expect, and it's great when he says it, which is, did he know?
He just leaves it there. I kind of love that this movie kind of knows when to stop its lines.
Yes.
Like, I feel like in a shittier version of this movie, he would proceed to explain in painstaking detail that no, Hitler faked his death and proceeded to fight the war for like 13 more years. But no, he's just like, did he now? And you kind of get the world building in just the way he says that line, and he doesn't need to explain further.
Yeah, what this movie does really, really well, especially in the first act here, is to make you feel like you are dropped into the middle of a story already in progress. There are things that have happened with the characters. They have histories. They have had, like, changing relationships. And Myers is here basically to be, like, a POV character, an entry point character for something already in progress. And the way the BPRD is designed, the way that stories are told to him, it very much gets that across. It tells you just enough to feel like there's a lot more going on.
Because they've been in business by this point for 60 years. There's a lot of story in those 60 years.
Yeah. So Myers gets introduced to a guy named Agent Clay. He's outside this big fuck-off vault door.
Hey, you know what's another thing Guillermo del Toro loves?
A big fuck-off vault door. It's like, here, have some baby Ruths. I handpicked you from a huge applicant list. Make me proud. And Clay's like, they're not speaking. Broom grounded him. Grounded who?
We have the very lofty sort of like ideological talk from Broom, and then Clay is the one who comes in and is like, yeah, they're being shitty to each other right now.
Yeah, there's this line delivery that Clay does that I really like, which is, you saw the fish guy? And Myers is like, oh yeah, that was weird. And Clay just sort of looks at him and he's like, right.
Like, as far as Clay is concerned, the fish guy is entry level.
Yep. And here comes Hellboy. Come meet him. Come meet him in his vault door room. He gets fed 6 times a day. He's got a thing for cats. You're his nanny, keeper, and best friend, and he never goes out unsupervised.
You do actually get to see his little hoofies from the comic, but he does end up wearing boots throughout most of the movie.
They also created an old-timey style issue of a Hellboy comic from Dark Horse.
Which, for those of you who have not seen the comics, that's not what the comics look like, but it's fun. It's very fun.
And Hellboy's weightlifting, and he's grumpy, and he's shirtless, and he's 60 years old, and they're like, yeah, but we think he's really just kind of, like, out of his 20s, like, emotionally.
Yeah, he's got a soul patch. And in this movie, Hellboy is like, it's a little different in the comics, because in the comics he physically matured very, very quickly to the point where he was like going on field missions at like 8 years old, but he looked like 20. Whereas in this one, he's like maturing very slowly, so he's barely out of his 20s. And also he's a bit more of a hothead than he is in the comics, because in the comics he's basically like perpetually a 38-year-old line cook. Like, he's just one of those guys that nothing bothers him.
Yeah, Hellboy's attitude very much is like, this guy works at a Waffle House.
Yeah, this guy is the linchpin of the Waffle House. That is his vibe in the comics. So he's not as much of a hothead in the comics, but again, they juiced him up a bit for the movie because they wanted to give him a bit more contrast and they wanted him to, like...
He's got to learn something.
He's got to learn something. It's a movie, so, like, it's different, but it's fine. It's a change that I accept.
Yeah, because so much of Hellboy's vibe here is intact.
Yes.
There's this part here where Clay's like, don't stare at his horns. Don't stare at Hellboy's horns. Because he files them down to stubs to fit in. There's also this thing about the way that the Hellboy outfit is designed, this whole look, is that not only is he red, but also there's these, like, almost chiseled grooves in his arm coming up, like, past his shoulder on his right side that look like they've been just carved into him, but they're like tattoos. They're so good.
Yeah, they're almost scarification marks, but they go in as opposed to scarring over. It's cool. It's interesting to look at.
Yeah, it's a good visual way to do what is a very simple character design.
I will also say that I learned something new at this point. As stated, he carved down his horns to fit in. I always thought those were goggles on his head. In every image I saw.
You know, I can understand that. They're big circles up on his upper forehead, and with the very smooth and cleaned up way that these characters are drawn in the comics, right? Mignola does, like, simple shapes and gestures.
Mignola has also done, like, multiple characters who do wear goggles all the time. So this is a fair assessment to make.
Yeah, no, horns. He's a monster man.
He's a monster man.
And also, there's a code red alarm. They have to go fight some monsters at the Mockin Library. Naturally, as Red Right Hand starts playing.
Of course, you've gotta. It's required by law. Although I think at one point they, like, lost the rights to the original Nick Cave recording of this song and had to replace it in a bunch of the streaming services with a cover. Because, like, I distinctly remember the bells from the original version when I was watching it in the theaters, and now when I watch it on streaming services, it's like a different version of the song.
Entirely possible. There's a whole bunch of people outside this library. I guess there's, like, a whole bunch of SWAT vans and paramedics, so naturally a crowd is gathered. But they get Hellboy and Abe Sapien in, who are gearing up inside a garbage truck, because waste management.
And because this is a Guillermo del Toro movie, they have Abe and Hellboy talking about their feelings while they're in there. It's a great way to show that these characters have a connection, and it's also a great way to show that, like, there is a missing party here. There is someone who's usually with them who isn't.
Also, you see their gear up stuff, like Hellboy gets out his giant gun, Abe starts to, like, put on this whole sort of almost wetsuit that has, like, these capsules of water around his gills so he can breathe.
It's a reverse scuba suit.
Yeah, and also there's a couple of chickens in the back and a pen, because sometimes you need chickens.
Because sometimes you just need chickens.
Anyway, they get Hellboy in, they give him a sit rep, there's a Type 5 entity in there. This is a library that is also, like, kind of a museum full of stuff that they thought were fakes and reproductions, but Broom is like, no, not everything was fake. There was a statue that was cut in half that had a reliquary in it. And also there's this good moment where as soon as Hellboy sees Broom, his dad, he hides his cigar behind his back.
It's so good. He's very doing the cool guy thing where he's smoking the cigar on sight, and then the moment he hears Broom, he turns around and hides the cigar behind his back. It's so good.
Oh no, it's Dad.
Oh no, Dad's here.
Oh no, it's Dad. Dad can't catch me smoking.
Hellboy picks out some ammunition, which is great because there are all these gigantic bullets filled with stuff.
Yeah, he's using the works, which are, I believe, holy water, silver shavings, white oak, and, like, clover leaf. So he's just covering all the bases here with all the things that are supposed to kill monsters.
Abe does this thing in the movies where he has basically hands that he can basically send out. They're almost empathic vibes he can pick up. He's like, there's something in there. It's evil, ancient, and hungry. And Hellboy's like, great, let's go.
There's this great moment where, like, Myers is like, what, he's going in alone? And Abe is like, yeah, he likes the whole lonely hero thing. In the comics, Hellboy does frequently go on missions with other people. It's just that those other people frequently get killed very, very fast, and he has to finish the rest of the mission on his own.
So Hellboy goes in and he's talking with Abe over the radio, who has a whole bunch of very old books as part of the kit that he brought in to do research. He's like, oh, there's something in here called Samael, the Desolate One, son of Nurgle, brother of blah, blah, blah. the Hound of Resurrection. And Hellboy's like, God damn it, okay.
Okay. And then he goes in, he's like, hey, Sammy!
First off, before he gets the whole Hound of Resurrection thing, Abe reads off part of the description, and Hellboy's like, oh, there's the monster, and proceeds to shoot at it a bunch of times, but as mentioned, he's not a very good shot. Comic accurate character trait, he's terrible, constantly.
He even tells the monster, he's like, hey, look, I'm not a great shot, but this gun uses really big bullets.
I love the idea that that compensates somehow.
Right?
So he manages to finally tag this thing. It goes down. Hellboy's like, okay, yeah, I killed it. And then Abe pipes in with like, actually, it is called the Hound of Resurrection. And then Hellboy's like, oh, God damn it.
Because he turns around, it's gone, and then he ends up fighting the creature. It grabs him. It eventually throws him through several glass tables and a wall and into an alley because Hellboy gets the shit kicked out of him a lot in this movie.
Yeah, he gets the shit kicked out of him a lot in general. He's a big super ball, but he can take a lot of punishment.
And he ends up in this alley outside. Everything is lit with this, like, sickly yellow lighting. And there's a shadowy man waiting for him. In really stupid sunglasses, which makes a lot of sense now that you have said something happened to his eyes.
Yeah, like the sunglasses are there in the director's cut to hide the fact that he does not have eyeballs, but here they're just really stupid sunglasses.
They've got like side blinders like it's a horse in a buggy.
So this is an older style of sunglasses from like the Victorian period. They don't look good.
No, he looks really dumb and he's like, blah, 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 Hellboy, my child. Only I know your true name and your true purpose. And Hellboy looks at him and he's like, no thanks. And points a gun at him.
Specifically, the line is, I know your true name, and Hellboy's like, name this, which is like one of the lamest cool guy things he says in this movie, and I kind of love it.
Samael finds him, grabs him with his tongue around his non-giant arm, and then suddenly also Myers has also made it into the scene to shoot the monster to help Hellboy, and Hellboy's like, don't help me, I hate you. Fine, load my gun with a tracking bullet.
Also, there's a horrible squid thing on my arm, which we will find out later is laying eggs inside of me.
So that's cool. Hellboy shoots it, gets the sucker off, and he's like, well, that's weird. Anyway, gives chase to the monster directly into a Halloween carnival, because of course. And Myers is like, ha ha ha, great costume, buddy, ha ha, trick or treat, ha 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 ha.
Then he gets hit by a car.
And then he almost gets hit by another car, in which case, Hellboy holds up his red right hand and yells, red means stop, and punches the car and it flips.
Mythbusters did a whole episode on this.
That rules.
They dropped a fake Hellboy fist from really high up in the air onto a car to see if they could get it to flip. It was great.
Samael escapes into the subway. Hellboy gives chase. There is a rad scene where it gets into a train car, and then Hellboy tries to get into the train car, but the train operator beans Hellboy until he falls off. Apparently the guy who beans Hellboy is a friend of Del Toro's. Hey, do you want to hit Ron Perlman in the head a lot, buddy?
With a fire extinguisher?
Absolutely.
Yes, obviously. So Hellboy gets knocked off the train and then gets hit in the head with the train several times. As mentioned, he's like a big super ball. This doesn't cause him a tremendous amount of physical trauma, but the tops of his horns end up kind of hot.
He then continues the fight with the Samael until Hellboy grabs him and then grabs the live rail and electrocutes the creature, and he's like, I'm fireproof and you're not, and then lights a cigar with his on-fire hand.
Yeah, the right hand of Doom is on fire, and he just uses it to light his cigar. I'm not sure I'm fireproof, you're not works as, like, a genuine cool guy line, but it does work as, like, a line that this Hellboy would say thinking it's cool.
And it also needs to tell us something about Hellboy that will be important for later.
Yes.
Hellboy is like, all right, cool, it's dead. I'm not gonna do cleanup. Hey, Myers, tell father not to wait up. I'm going out, bye.
It's just the shittiest teen line where he's like, I'm going out, see ya.
As he leaves, I'm assuming this is probably a theatrical cut thing here, where we get this weird voiceover from Rasputin that it's like, Samael, die in peace, be reborn again and again.
Yeah, in the director's cut, you see like the flame emerge from Samael and separate, but then the next scene after that is a scene where Elsa is shaving Rasputin's head for him while he puts in his new glass eyes that he's going to wear for the rest of the movie.
Oh, okay.
And then the fireball appears and he says that line out loud to the room.
Okay, that makes more sense. Meanwhile, Hellboy steals a 6-pack of beer from a Halloween guy and then goes to a psychiatric hospital in the minimal security ward.
He's taking beer to see his girlfriend, or more accurately, the girl he likes, who's not his girlfriend.
No, she's not his girlfriend right now. And we meet Liz Sherman, who's in the halls here. Here's someone that's like, oh, there's a red man out front. And she's like, oh, God damn it.
Yeah, the orderlies are like, oh no, Santa's not here for another month. And Liz is like, that's not fucking Santa.
So she goes outside and... oh, Hellboy is so cute and dorky.
Oh god, he's trying so hard to be cool and not pulling it off.
No.
In this and all versions of Hellboy, like Liz Sherman came, this is Liz Sherman, by the way. She came to the BPRD as like a child, and Hellboy was already like an adult at that point. And like, so she feels weird about him in this movie in a way that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because she can't quite sort out her feelings from themselves.
We go back to the library where the FBI guy, Manning, is here. He's not happy about things, and Abe is touching stuff to do visions of them. And he's like, hey, Professor, they were here. And shows Broom a vision as we see the camera spin around and the exhibit reforms, and then we see the flashback of Cronin Spider-Manning down the wall, because there's a great contortionist working that role.
It's Doug. We gotta give Doug some space to do Doug stuff.
Was that Doug in there? Because he moved?
I'm not sure that's Doug in there, actually.
I'm not certain that's Doug. I don't recall who actually does the physical stuff there.
No, it's Ladislav Baran.
Ah.
He is a very good contortionist.
Oh my god, he's incredible. He does some German ninja shit like it's G Gundam or something. He just murders all these guards.
We just have an entire sequence that is this guy murdering guards in ways that are entertaining.
Here we go. He was a dancer, choreographer. He started doing acting and choreographing zombie dancing animal movements in movies. And in 2001, he ended up being in Blade. He was a choreographer and actor in Blade 2.
He's one of Guillermo del Toro's special guys.
He's one of Guillermo del Toro's special guys. There you go.
Yes.
Cronin murders all these dudes, and in comes Rasputin in his stupid sunglasses. I love that there's this point where they come up to this statue that they break open, and Cronin puts his hand on it like he's gonna do some, like, Mission Impossible ninja shit to open this up, and then Ilsa just comes in with a sledgehammer.
Yeah, no. Ilsa feels that there is a more direct solution to this problem.
They pull this reliquary out of this statue, and you see Rasputin break it open with salt gathered from the tears of 1,000 angels, scatters it, summons Samael, the seed of destruction.
Yeah, because one of the other things Guillermo del Toro likes is an asymmetrical monster.
Yep. For every one of you that falls, 2 shall arise, we learn. And Broom's like, oh, god damn it. But also Abe touched him physically, and he did a little psychic thing. He's like, oh, you're sick.
You're really sick.
You're super sick. You're oh no.
And again, all they need is like a quiet little line where he says, I don't want Hellboy to know. And that's basically all you need to know about that.
Yeah, in the theatrical cut, we don't even find out exactly what his prognosis is.
Yeah, because it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So Hellboy and Liz are having a very awkward date. Hellboy is just like, hi, I brought beer. Hi, hello. Hi, will you come back? I miss you.
And Liz is like, thing 1, you're bleeding. That's probably not good. Thing 2, I am actually getting better here, and I don't think it's a good idea for me to leave.
And she also demonstrates, she shows that she can create fire, this beautifully animated blue fire that totally covers her hand. And she's like, I haven't had an episode in months. I'm not afraid for the first time in a long time.
I do like that we find out that she has been afraid of her own power, but hasn't had an episode in months before we find out, like, her origin story, basically. The first thing we find out about her is that she's getting better. And then that she, we just find out something bad probably happened, but it doesn't go into a tremendous amount of detail right away because it doesn't need to.
Yeah. And a car pulls up from the BPRD and she's like, hey, that's your ride. Also, look, if you really care about me, don't come back. And she walks away and Hellboy looks at the car and he's like, yeah, I gotta go too. Okay, bye.
I do like that she's not white-fanging him here. It's just very quiet, very subdued, saying like, hey, man, don't come back here.
Yeah, it's a very clear putting up a boundary. Myers walks up and he's like, oh my god, Hellboy, you just collapsed. You've lost so much blood. And he's like, this is nothing. You know what'll kill me, don't you? And looks longingly at Liz as he's carried off.
Yes, Guillermo, we know.
Oh, Guillermo! You love monsters that yearn! It's also worth noting that Del Toro has spoken about the romance arc in this movie and said that it is a reverse Beauty and the Beast, because once the beauty accepts that she is also monstrous, then she gets to have the monster.
God, I love that. I will point out in the comics really quickly that she is never romantically entangled with Hellboy in the comics. It's more like a big brother, little sister type situation. The guy she does end up like romantically involved with is a guy named Howards, who is a BBRD agent who finds a magic sword and turns into literally Conan.
That rules!
That rules! His name is even Howards.
Love it.
Yeah, love that for her.
So back at the BPRD, Abe sort of does some surgical examination of Hellboy's arm in particular, while Broom is also in the room. And Abe removes 3 eggs from the stinger thing that got stuck onto Hellboy. He's like, oh, cool. It laid 3 eggs and it was on your arm for 5 seconds.
Hellboy has a great little line here, so it didn't even buy me a drink.
Abe figures out that the eggs need a dark, humid environment to breed. Did you lose it for any length of time? And he's like, yeah, there was a train hitting my head for a few minutes.
So we get to basically do a redo of Mimic, where we go down into the New York subway system.
Yeah. Myers that evening also does some research on Liz, watches some interviews on her where she's like, I don't like being called a fire starter or a pyrokinetic. We see that she's got a bunch of Polaroid photos all around her room at the hospital. We see her room for like 5 seconds, and it's still this gorgeous set with a weird statement window.
We got a weird statement window. We got a bunch of photos that she's taken, including one that appears to be of a TARDIS. It's there for like half of a second.
We've got like a big cozy quilt on her wrought iron bed. Oh, it's Del Toro's shit in here.
Guillermo del Toro loves a wrought iron bed. That man loves a wrought iron bed.
Oh, man. And so there's an orderly that just kind of peeks in. We see a lot of this room in a flashlight. Then he closes the door, and out of the shadows comes Rasputin, the mad monk himself.
Rasputin.
And so he just speaks to a sleeping Liz, and he's like, you must return to the child. So once again, dream of fire. And he sort of thumbs this spot on her forehead where there's a scar, and it starts glowing red, and we see her have a dream that is a flashback.
Which is her as a child in Pittsburgh getting chased by shitty kids who are throwing rocks at her. And one hits her in the forehead, giving her that scar, and then she has an episode. Although, unfortunately, in her case, an episode means she explodes.
Yeah, she immolates an entire apartment block, including those mean kids. Those kids are not alive.
You don't really see this in this version of her backstory, but I'm pretty sure it's still the case, where she also, in this process, immolated her own family.
Oof.
In the case of the comics, it was her parents and her brother. Considering that she does not seem to have any parents in the picture in the movies, I'm pretty sure this still means that she immolated her own family.
While Liz is dreaming of this, she, in present time, sets fire to her room, and then fire bursts out of her room and explodes the entire hospital.
This hospital explodes so fucking good.
So good. This is just a pile of matchsticks, honestly.
Oh, God. Like, this is a very loving shot of a hospital blowing up.
So we get what must be the next morning, where Myers has brought Hellboy breakfast, which is piles and piles and piles of pancakes.
He loves a pancake.
Hellboy and Broom, they're arguing about Liz, and Myers is like, oh, I could help. I could talk to her, bring her back. And you see Broom close his eyes and be like, oh, God damn it. And then Hellboy calls Myers a pancake pusher, and according to the subtitles, he does say pancakes with an M.
The Hoopla subtitles said pancakes, but I've read the subtitles on the DVD versions of this. He says pancakes.
Yeah, with an M, because there's a little, 2-page comic of baby Hellboy. A little kid Hellboy who has a pancake, and he loves them, and it makes all of the demons in hell upset, because he will never return to us now.
That's canon, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a joke. That's a real Hellboy comic. It's great. It's wonderful.
Pancakes.
He has tasted the pancake. He will never return to us now.
And Myers pulls Broom aside later and he's like, Hellboy doesn't like me. I am not the right guy for this. And Broom is like, I'm dying, Myers.
Just whips that out.
Yep. Something, young experienced knights who are pure of heart and blah, 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 be a friend. And it's like, again, this guy is nothing. This guy is nothing.
This guy is so nothing that in the next movie, presumably they either couldn't or didn't want to get the actor back. So he's just been reassigned to Antarctica for the next movie.
Yeah. Because, it's like, oh, help him become a man. He doesn't help him become a man. He's just kind of also there.
He's just there a bit.
He's the red shirt who has enough of a name that he doesn't die.
You're not gonna die on the planet, guy.
I'm not? What's my last name?
It's, I don't know.
Nobody knows. Do you know why? Because my character isn't important enough for a last name. Because I'm gonna die 5 minutes in.
Guy, you have a last name.
Do I? Do I?
Yes.
For all you know, I'm just crewman number 6.
So Myers arrives to where the hospital is burned up so bad.
They said they'll be closed for months and has put a serious dent in our Thorazine supply. I don't know if that means they've had to drug everyone or if the Thorazine was in the bit of the hospital that got blown up.
And Liz is in an isolation room. She's just sitting on a chair in the middle of the room, staring straight ahead. You know how it goes when you have a woman or a girl with really long dark hair just sitting in a room in an observation area in a mental hospital.
Yeah, it's that bit.
You've seen that scene 1,000 times.
The scene in the theatrical cut for this is very, very short. It's just Myers coming in saying, hey, Liz, that's a beautiful name. Liz being like 60% of all women in the world are named Liz. And Myers being like, well, my name's John, so... And which is just genuinely good. That's just fun. They have a bit of a talk about coming back, and it's not like any armed guards or anything. It's just in a taxi. Director's cut. Myers actually gets to do a bit more in this scene, where they have like a little conversation about like the elastic bands that Liz like wears on her wrist and like uses them as like aversion therapy to like snap them on herself when she's like, you know, she's trying to deter herself from feeling certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a bit more of a talk about like, you know, coming home to the BPRD and things like that. And then there's a follow-up scene where we get to see them in the cab hanging out. And it's actually kind of cute and fun and kind of makes sense later on when they seem to have more of a connection. But that's all gone from the theatrical cut. So it's just basically this scene and then they're back at the BPRD.
Oh, okay. Okay, that gives a bit more context.
It shows that Myers has actually had like psychological training at Quantico.
Well, there's that. Hellboy, Abe, and some BPRD agents, including Clay, head back to the subway to look for eggs. There's old subway tunnels that lead to an abandoned reservoir. And Abe's like, okay, there's a cistern on the other side of this brick wall. They're like, okay, great, we're going to have to get some permits. And then Hellboy just starts punching through the brick wall.
It turns out that punching through the brick wall was not the smartest thing in the world for him to do because the noise alerts Cronin over in his fucked up little subway tunnel quarters apartment thing.
Man, we get to see him like working on his equipment and he doesn't have like the goggles over his mask. And we see that they're just full eyeballs, no eyelids. It rules.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It's great. I love it.
So he amscrays. Hellboy goes through, he finds a sewer grate covered in beetles where there's just a whole bunch of water down there. There's a couple of glow sticks in the space below. The water is a solid green.
It's gross.
And the glow sticks are yellow. The space that we're in, like with the cistern and everything, that's a blue. So we have some really great contrast with the yellow glow sticks all around everything. Like the coloring in these sequences are so good.
Yeah, and like Hellboy's color is red, Abe's color is blue, Samael's color is like the sickly yellow-green, so you can tell from looking at the cistern that is a Samael space.
Yep.
Also, Hellboy cracks the glow sticks on the right hand of Doom and drops them in, and that's just fun. That's just a fun bit of physical acting he does.
And there's even like a bunch of stuff where like they're throwing around glow sticks to light up the space because they're basically going to make this sort of a temporary base of operations for this mission. And you get the feeling that he really doesn't have to throw around that many glow sticks, but he kind of likes doing it. So Abe actually like disrobes from his sort of reverse wetsuit because he can breathe water. He doesn't need gear to go in there.
Yeah, he needs gear to go everywhere else but here.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that he's super enthusiastic about going in the gross sewer water.
Yeah. Hellboy hands him a little reliquary. He's like, oh, on a chain. He's like, it's straight from the Vatican. It's a bone from they say Dionysus in a weird way.
Yeah, they say Dionysius.
Dionysius. A bone from Saint Dionysius.
It's a pinky.
I think it's a pinky or something. Have fun.
It's a teeny tiny little bone.
So Abe swims around, and all of these Samael eggs that he sees in here are these little yellow glowing orbs. So they really stick out in this green space that's real good. And he plucks some in, puts them in a little hip pouch. Something's swimming around behind him. That's weird.
We can't quite see it, and it seems to be keeping its distance for some reason.
Up top, Hellboy encounters Cronin and gives chase, and Clay immediately loses Hellboy because it's a fucking maze down here. Because weird, mazes.
Yeah, this is like the second maze in this movie, huh? I wonder if that's going to be a theme.
Weird. And Abe encounters a giant pile of eggs, but in the process of trying to reach it, his reliquary snaps and it drops out of the way, and immediately he gets hit by another Samael.
That's right. St. Dionysius' protection was absolutely 100% real, and now that he doesn't have it, he's got to
Love that. Abe swims away, but there's at least two down there that are attacking him, and he gets into this alcove that can't be reached from either side, but he is injured and terrified.
Yeah, he's bleeding out into the water.
Like, he does this silent scream of air bubbles coming out of his mouth.
It's good. It's really good.
Two Samaels emerge into the base of operations and attack the BPRD agents. There's all this blue and yellow in this scene. It's so good.
They have what appears to be a big fuck-off gun. It's never explained exactly what the big fuck-off gun is or is supposed to do, and it doesn't really matter because the guy who's supposed to be firing at it gets got because he's like, oh, there's just one of them, I'll fry it quick because the other one is directly above him. And grabs him by the face and kills him horribly.
Hellboy, meanwhile, in his search for Cronin, emerges into Cronin's weird little base with all of his different masks, and there's a big furnace and a page that describes Samael, kind of like the one that Abe Sapien was reading. Then one attacks him, one of the Samael attacks him, and they fall down an incredibly long shaft. It's like Gandalf fighting off the Balrog down there.
They fall for 1,000,000 years and then land in a subway station.
A populated one. It's really busy.
It looks to be the same subway station from Mimic, actually.
That would be funny.
I don't know how many subway stations in New York have that same sort of like white tile look to them.
A lot of them.
But it looks an awful lot like the one from Mimic.
So many. So they do a big fight in this crowded sequence, and like in this part in particular, you really admire the fact that there's this really good mix of suit acting and CGI in this fight, like just switching off like whatever the shot requires best, but there's a good physicality here.
Yeah, the CGI does not quite hold up, but there's enough of the practical effects in here that the CGI not holding up is kind of fine.
Yeah, oftentimes it's even just like a suit actor with CGI accentuating like tentacles or something.
Yes.
At some point, Hellboy gets crushed into a subway station office, and then as Samael screams at the gathered victims, Hellboy then emerges from the rubble with a bunch of glass shards sticking out of his back like he's a porcupine.
He just keeps fighting.
And then suddenly screams, "My kittens! Somebody please get my kittens!"
This is so cheap and I kind of love it.
It's so good. There's just a crate, like an egg crate.
full of kittens.
A milk crate full of kittens.
You really start to appreciate in this fight scene that Hellboy doesn't really have any superpowers except for the fact that he just doesn't go down. Basically, Hellboy's only superpower is he does not go down ever.
Yeah. And of course, Hellboy has a thing for cats. His little room is full of cats. And he scoops up the crate under his arm and then keeps fighting the Samael as this lady is like, "Oh, please be careful with my kittens." And he's being drugged down onto a train.
Yeah, and he's like, "Lady, give me a break."
Hellboy basically maneuvers the situation so that this train hits Samael, crushes him.
There's a great shot as the train is coming up where we see Samael, and then Samael's like pupil contracts in the light coming from the train right before he gets hit. I just really like that shot.
Yeah, it's a good little mother. We also see that Samael's tongue has grabbed Hellboy's arm again, but this time it's the red right hand, just this big stone thing. So he's fine. He didn't get any eggs in him this time.
No, that red right hand is indestructible. Like, canonically, when the rest of him gets whacked, that hand sticks around.
And he hands the little crate of kittens back to the woman and pets one of them with his big hand. It's great.
It's good.
But also, there's that green flame that lifts from the Samael corpse, splits in two, and then we cut to see more eggs hatching down below. Abe finally gets out of the water and hits the distress beacon on his belt. We'll see this several times with these characters with, like, basically beacons on their belts so they can send signals if something goes wrong or use a locator. Cronin ends up finding Clay, though, who is, like, Hellboy's buddy human. It's his human pal, Clay.
It's his human pal with, like, he had some hair plugs put in to fix a receding hairline. It looks kind of like doll's hair. It doesn't look terrific.
What's with the hair, Clay? Finally got them implants, huh?
It'll fill in.
And then Clay gets stabbed so many times.
So many times. And Clay even shoots Cronin and just like dust or sand starts leaking out of his guts. And then Clay dies as Hellboy runs towards them, and Cronin looks at where Hellboy must be coming down the hallway, puts down his sword, lies down, and turns this gear thing over his heart that we see him wind a couple of times. And then he kind of wriggles like he's getting this big electrical shock, and he goes still.
Yeah, Cronin's got a clockwork heart, because you know what Guillermo del Toro loves is clockwork stuff.
Oh boy, does he ever.
He loves that clockwork.
He loves clockwork stuff so much. Kronos is a really good movie, incidentally.
We cut back to the BPRD where Abe is recovering, and this is a Bacta tank.
Yeah.
You know, like Luke Skywalker and Goku.
Yeah, they just put him in a Bacta tank.
Whoa, Mondo cool.
That's right, boys. Mondo cool.
They say that Clay is not expected to survive the night, which we never see Clay again in this movie. Presumably he died. We never see him in the sequel, so I guess he died.
Rip Clay.
Rip Clay. And Manning is here, the FBI director, and he's like, "Hey, those guys trusted you to have their backs and you let them down because you ran off because you're a hothead. You're a loose cannon, turning your badge and gun in hand."
And Hellboy is like, "How dare you call me a loose cannon? I'm going to rip out this piece of medical machinery and throw it at you."
And meanwhile, Broom is like, "Liz, welcome back for the weekend. It's so nice to see you." Oh, Hellboy threw a tank through a wall. And Manny's like, I hate that thing. Lock it up. I'm not afraid of it," and runs away.
At which point Liz just looks at the mess and goes, "Nothing's changed. Home sweet home."
And she walks away, and Hellboy, who does not read the room, is like, "Liz is here! Hooray! Myers, you did it! Yay! Why are you all walking away and looking mad at me? What? Oh. Because he's a dummy.
He's a big dummy.
He's a big dummy when it comes to being in love. It's so cute. He's got crumpled up love letter drafts all over his room.
It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. And the fact that he's got that room is full of cats means something terrible is about to happen.
In fact, he's been writing love letters over and over again, and Liz even arrives to greet all of the cats. And Hellboy's like, hi, hello, hi, I wanted to read you something. Hi, Liz, hi, hello, hi.
And Liz is like, well, can you make it quick? Because I'm going out. And that is like flipping a switch with Hellboy.
What do you mean you're going out? Out? You're going out? And she's like, yeah, I'm getting coffee with Myers. And he's like, never mind, goodbye.
Myers, meanwhile, is bringing in like gigantic bowls of chili.
God, the kitchens must be incredible.
I want to know what it's like working in the BPRD kitchen, where it's like you got to produce these massive industrial amounts of food.
6 times a day.
And also you got to keep some rotten eggs on hand.
6 times a day. And they're also like, they're not even like good food. These are like things that a teenager eats. It is gigantic bowls of nachos and chili and pancakes. This man does not eat well.
No.
But he is also a hell furnace.
Yeah, he is a hell furnace, so it's hard to say whether the lack of vitamins will actually kill him, because nothing else has so far.
So Broom performs an autopsy on Cronin in this sort of surgical chamber that they've set up. It seems to be the same kind of place where Abe Sapien extracted those eggs from Hellboy. We see this rad monster body of Cronin as Broom sort of removes the sheet. After he says that he has surgical addiction, he removed both eyelids, his upper and lower lip, and this is a fucked up prop. This is so cool.
Oh yeah, this looks really gnarly.
The blood in his veins dried up decades ago. Only dust remains, and he pulls out that gear thing over Cronin's heart, and it's like a clockwork key.
Oh god, it's so good.
It's so good!
Like, you can tell that key was something Guillermo del Toro drew in his little notebook.
Oh, one hundo. And speaking of a little notebook, Broom finds a couple of scraps of paper in his hand, and he's like, well, I should go take a look at this.
One of the things he mentions, what horrible will could keep a creature such as this alive? And the answer being, well, it's like 7 squids in space.
And he just says that to nobody. That's just him talking to himself. He just talks like that.
That's just him talking into his little vocoder. That's just how he talks to himself when he's taking notes.
So meanwhile, Liz and Myers are getting coffee, and Myers talks about how great Hellboy is and how much he loves Liz. And Liz is like, I don't know how I feel about him, but I think about him constantly. I mean, I even feel like he's here now. And, well, there he is on the rooftop stalking them. He's offering commentary on their little date.
Something that I keep running into when I see people who aren't usually into things like monster romance, and they read monster romance and they critique it, being like, oh, well, the guy is so, like, shitty and immature and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's my firm opinion that in a story like this, it's fine if the monster boyfriend is kind of shitty and immature and has character flaws. It's just that those character flaws have to do something in the story, which in this case means Hellboy is out here stalking Liz because he's being shitty and immature. He's not back home to stop the next scene from happening.
Yep. And the thing is that Hellboy, a monster has to have a good heart. They have to be someone who especially cherishes the human love interest. But if they have character flaws, that's fine, because they have to be some kind of, like, internal monstrousness as well as an external one. It's just that they also have to be consumed with self-loathing, generally speaking.
Yes.
And guess what? Guess what about movie Hellboy? So while he's stalking them on their date, there's this great bit where he's like, oh, Myers is like, oh, do you want some cream or your sugar for your coffee? And Hellboy's muttering like, moron, she takes it black. She takes his picture and he's like, damn it, she took his picture. She took his picture. She took his picture.
He's having a whole fucking crisis about this.
To the point where he doesn't notice that there's a child with pigeons on the rooftop that he's just crawled his way onto. And he's like,
yeah, he beefs a jump.
Yeah.
Nearly falls off, climbs up, and there's just a child with a bunch of pigeons.
It's like, wow, you're Hellboy. And it's like, I'm on a mission. Don't tell anyone.
Oh, God. I just love it. I love it when, like, the kind of shitty, superpowered monster character gets to interact with a small child. I love it every time.
It's always good.
It's never not good.
Back at base, we've put on a record, and it's We'll Meet Again, and I'm sure it won't be tragic for anyone.
Yeah, I'm sure this won't become tremendously traumatizing to listen to in the years to come.
No.
Dr. Broom is, like, taking those pieces of paper he found on Cronin and comparing it to... I have watched this movie so many times both cuts, and I still don't know where this third piece of paper comes from.
No, not at all.
I can't fucking figure it out. Either this is something they already had on file, or the piece of software he's using is supposed to be something to like extrapolate the missing information. But I still haven't figured it out. But there's a third piece of paper that comes in with the other two, and what it spells out is Sebastian Ploxbahn number 16.
And he's like, that's in Moscow. Who wants us in Moscow? And meanwhile, in the autopsy room, Cronin just does a sit-up like he's the Shape from Halloween.
Yeah, he's just fucking, he's fucking the Undertaker. He does an Undertaker sit-up. And starts putting his bits back on.
And then he just walks over to his equipment with the sheet still on him that slowly falls off because he doesn't care. And then he gets to his equipment and he suits up and it rules.
This is fucked up.
Hellboy is still monitoring this stupid date, and Liz is having a nice time, and he's grumpy about it, while this kid is hanging out and brought cookies that his mom made. Myers does the, like, and oh, my arm is stretching out and going back over your shoulder. That's weird. How did that happen? So Hellboy throws a rock at his head.
It's not a big rock, but it is thrown very, very fast.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Broom back at the base figures out that sort of address they have, those words, that is for Rasputin's mausoleum. And then from a spiral staircase in the back of the room, Cronin just starts walking down while ticking.
Oh dear.
And Broom sees this, and he's very calm about it as Cronin and he's not like rushing down the stairs, he's just walking at a normal pace. And Broom is like, well, there's the puppet. So where's the puppeteer? Rah, Rasputin, lover of the Russian queen. There was a cat who really was gone.
Yep, Rasputin's here, you guys. And Elsa, but it's more importantly that Rasputin's here.
Right. And Broom is like, oh, okay. All right. Broom sort of puts the pieces together. He's very, like, he knows what's going to happen here. He's not really afraid. He is afraid for his son, but he is not afraid for himself.
Yeah, like he's got stomach cancer. This is honestly the better case scenario.
Yeah. Broom's like, oh, so you're behind Liz's relapse. And he's like, yes, I'm distracting Hellboy. I'm leading him to Moscow. I'll permit you a brief glimpse of the future, and gives him a vision.
It is a gnarly vision of Hellboy with full-grown horns and, like, a glowing mouth and smoke coming out of his nostrils.
And a flaming crown atop his head.
Yeah, but the flaming crown is also, like, the suggestion of a crown within the flames. It fucking rules.
Yeah.
It looks good. It looks really fucking good.
The apocalypse has clearly happened. Tentacles are in the sky. Everything is red. Cities are destroyed. It's scary shit.
Rasputin says something interesting here, which is, if only you destroyed him 60 years ago. This also ties into something that is explored very deeply in the comics when we have flashbacks to Broom raising a young Hellboy, which is at the time a whole bunch of like mediums and like occult experts were like, you should kill this thing. This thing is going to kill the world. And Broom kept saying the same thing over and over again. He's a little boy. He's just a little boy. I'm not going to hurt a little boy.
He's just a kid.
Just a kiddo.
And I love that about Broom.
Yeah, and Broom, when faced with the apocalypse, when faced with being told you should have killed this thing 60 years ago, do you want to know his true name? Broom just says, I know what I call him. I call him son.
Yeah! That just rules.
Is there transgender subtext? Maybe not on purpose. It's there, though.
Hey, you know how, especially within the context of monster romance, monster fuckery is inherently queer in its themes?
Someone who has been considered monstrous throughout their entire childhood finding love anyway?
Yeah, interesting.
Interesting how that works out.
And so Broom purposefully sets down his rosary and says, I'm ready. And Cronin reaches up behind him and stabs him through the throat.
Probably still a nicer way to go than stomach cancer.
Oh boy, stomach cancer.
Almost certainly a better way to go than stomach cancer.
Yeah.
The list is long.
Fuck cancer, by the way.
Fuck cancer. Hellboy, meanwhile, is getting advice from a 9-year-old to go tell Liz how he feels.
And Hellboy's like, it's not that simple. Also, you're 9 years old.
But then he sees a car pull up to Liz and Myers, and someone says, Liz, I'm so sorry, and Liz starts crying.
Yeah, something's wrong.
And we cut back to, like, the rosary is collected. The office is a crime scene. Hellboy holds his father's body. We cut to a funeral where Myers is a pallbearer. Really?
Well, he's got to be somewhere. Myers is a pallbearer, Liz is watching from beneath an umbrella, and Hellboy can't attend his own father's funeral and has to stand atop the roof of the BPRD instead, watching the hearse drive away.
Holding his father's rosary.
The music here is really, really good.
Yeah. 3 days later, Liz is confiding to Abe, who is still in the back to tank, upside down, solving a Rubik's Cube. And he's like, Hellboy hasn't spoken to anyone in 3 days. What should I do? And Abe is like, well, if there's trouble, all we freaks have is each other.
Queer subtext.
And he says, I'm stuck here, so take care of him for me.
Yeah, also Abe has apparently been working on the same Rubik's Cube for 2 decades.
He's only solved 2 sides. He's actually not very good at Rubik's Cubes.
He's not very good at Rubik's Cubes, but he still insists on keeping on working on it.
Manning announces that they're going to be going to Moscow to finish this thing, and if they don't do it, he's going to shut down the BPRD, whatever. Liz finds Hellboy in the office, and she's like, I'll go with you, and Hellboy's like, okay, I have to say something first.
Yeah, I do love that we don't need to have a scene where Hellboy says, I feel guilty because I was being a creepy stalker and as a result my father was killed by a horrible nightmare man. He doesn't need to say that out loud because it's already very apparent from the everything he's been doing for 3 days.
Yep. And Hellboy says, like, look, I make you feel out of place on account of me, and Myers probably makes you feel like you belong with other people, and I get it. It's okay. It's good that you feel like you belong, and I wish I could do something about this. And he gestures to his whole face, and it breaks my fucking heart.
Oof.
And he says, I can promise you 2 things. 1, I'll always look this good. And 2...
Which he's Ron Perlman, he really will.
Oh man, he will. And he says 2, I'll never give up on you. Ever. God, and I love this. This is such good monster shit. This is like,
yes.
You deserve to be happy, and I am willing to let you go, but I will never stop loving you.
Oh, it's so good. It's very good monster romance.
The self-sacrificing. God.
The devotion, the yearning.
The yearning! This is catnip for me.
That's some good yearning, folks.
Oh, that's such good yearning. And this isn't a movie where the yearning isn't even the focal point.
Yeah, no, the main plot is Rasputin is here and he has a Clockwork Ninja subordinate.
Yeah, so we go to Moscow. We go to Russia. Manning is like, on the way, he's like, there's no mumbo jumbo here because I have grenades. Spoilers, there will in fact be mumbo jumbo.
Mumbo? Perhaps. Jumbo? Perhaps not.
By the way, these are Vulcan 65 grenades. A running joke in the comics is every time grenades come into the picture, it is a Vulcan and then an increasingly large number.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's a Vulcan 30. Oh, it's a Vulcan 50. Now it's a Vulcan 65. They're just going to keep making bigger and bigger grenades. The grenades, by the way, never do the thing they're supposed to do.
So they come to this big snowy cemetery, this gorgeous, like, cool lighting, lots of blue here, lots of white, and you have Hellboy who sticks out like a sore thumb as this gigantic red thing.
It's good color symbolism.
Such good color symbolism. This enormous cemetery, and Manning's like, okay, we're never going to find Rasputin's mausoleum, so let's make a grid, we'll set up quadrants, get some satellite photography, and Hellboy's like, no, I'm just going to go ask for directions.
I love this sequence because while it's not a thing that ever happens verbatim in the comics, it is exactly the kind of thing that happens in the comics, where Hellboy just finds a promising-looking grave using a little thing on his belt that goes tick, digs it up, uses an amulet to resurrect the corpse, and then has the corpse on his back giving him directions to where they need to go.
As he resurrects this corpse, it's this really cool... We even get this cool shot of him from the side, like doing this on profile, and something that, you know, obviously we could never get real life because you know, graves aren't that big, but it looks so good. It's such a comic book ass frame.
It is, of him like raising this pendant and then like the corpse's head coming up out of the grave following the pendant. It's really good.
Oh my god. And then just fucking corpse is such some fucking, like, this is some enormous Harryhausen shit with how this puppet moves. This is a weird fucking puppet. It's great.
It's great. He has no legs. He has a noose around his neck that Hellboy is using to carry him around on his back by, and he speaks entirely in Russian and hates Hellboy. It's great. I love every bit of this.
And he's in here for like 5 seconds. He has a couple of jokes. And it's also one of those puppets that's definitely done like remotely. You've got a remote that's controlling the eyes, the mouth, but it's so much fun to look at.
Incidentally, the Hoopla subtitles do not tell you what this guy is saying, Mackenzie, so you would not have been able to tell what he was saying even if he did have working subtitles. But he is speaking in Russian, and then basically his first line is, "What the f*** do you want?" And then the rest of them is just like him giving directions. And then his second last line, as Hellboy asks how he's doing, he says, "I wish I had legs so I could kick your ass." And then as he's falling into the pit, he says, "I was better off dead." Those are the lines that you missed.
Yeah. This is also Ivan.
Ivan Klementovich.
Just slung around with a noose around Hellboy's back. It's so good. And he's like, Ivan says there's a whole network of tunnels that goes on for miles because he leads them directly to the mausoleum.
How does Ivan know this? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's a graveyard.
He's dead. He's privy to secrets.
He knows his neighbors. Obviously, there's this big antechamber in this mausoleum, and Hellboy's like, we'll be fine, as long as we don't separate.
Guess what happens immediately?
Not another maze!
Literally a bunch of walls come up out of the floor and separate them. It's not even 2 seconds after he says that.
The important thing is that Liz and Myers are separate, and Hellboy and Manning are separate, and they each have some assorted BPRD guys. And they do have radio contact.
Yeah, say goodbye to these red shirts, by the way. Don't get attached to them.
One of them has a name that's like Lemon or something. Don't worry about it. We follow Hellboy and Manning. They come into this open space, this bridge that spans this enormous chasm that's, you guessed it, full of a whole bunch of gears.
It's just a whole lot of clockwork shit underground.
The door shuts behind them, and there's some ominous gear turning, and a whole mechanism starts. And then Manning decides to just start, almost dial it back a little. Like, no, Hellboy, stay put. I'm in charge. We're not gonna go forward. We have to go back or something. I'm in charge. Yeah.
Meanwhile, a big hammer comes out of nowhere and kills the red shirt, and the red shirt was carrying Ivan, so,
Would you mind holding this guy for a while? He is so negative.
Bye, Ivan.
Bye, Ivan. Hellboy basically picks up and throws Manning through a door that is closing on the other side of this bridge as a giant pendulum hammer starts taking out the bridge.
Yeah, I love that there's no real reason for the door to close this slowly. It's mostly because Rasputin is a dramatic bitch.
Oh, God, yeah. So they get through, and they hear some distant opera music, and through another hallway covered in spikes, there's Cronin with one of his weird little layers.
He just has a bunch of these.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would.
Manning, who is the clown, who is a buffoon in this sequence, cuts his hand a little, and he's like, ow! So Cronin hears it and disappears.
Yeah, Cronin is alerted to the presence of Hellboy and to a lesser extent Manning. He manages to slip away while Hellboy's sneaking into the room.
And then he reappears immediately and starts slashing at Manning with his swords, who is like, hey, what's wrong with you?
I love how Manning's response to basically everything weird that happens down here is, hey, wait a minute, that's not supposed to happen.
Dial it back 80%, man.
Hey, what's wrong with you?
You are now the de facto leader of the BPRD. Paranormal shit is now your fucking job. None of this could possibly be a surprise to you.
Hellboy and Cronin fight, and it turns out swords don't really hit the indestructible red right hand.
Yeah, it knocks some chips out of it, but that's about it.
He throws him against the wall, and Cronin just starts laughing, this weird, mechanical laugh.
It's such a good, horrible little laugh.
Yeah. And then the floor drops out below Hellboy and Manning, and it turns out there's a spike trap pit down there, and it's like I'm playing D&D with Chris Sims again. I do every week. This man who loves dungeon traps with spike pits and, loaded cannons behind doors more than anyone else alive.
Yeah, sure. Just give me a perception check real quick.
Cronin, what was your worst case scenario for accidentally flipping the spike pit trap button?
That's a great question.
You live here, my guy. Your cute little posh Victorian chair just fell down into the spike pit. You were sitting there.
He had that little record player, too.
Your record player is now in the spike pit. You were just hanging out on top of the spike pit and just kind of hoping you didn't accidentally hit the spike pit button.
Hellboy has to struggle to get out, but Manning manages to get loose and then starts throwing gears like frisbees to distract Cronin.
Yeah, to keep Cronin from cutting the rope that Hellboy's hanging from, at which point Hellboy literally lassos Cronin and drags him down into the pit.
Then crushes him to death.
With a big gear.
Yeah, because, you just have these things sitting around here.
Yeah, which I'm not sure this even killed Cronin, but he's not going anywhere.
No, it's heavy.
Still in there, he ain't happy.
And then, they have this breather moment where Hellboy grabs a cigar, and we have seen Manning smoking cigars earlier in the movie, and Hellboy picks up a lighter, and Manning's like, "What are you doing? Don't light a cigar with a lighter. What's wrong with you?"
This is like my brother whenever he sees one of those butane lighters. He's like, all you're doing is inhaling butane. But yeah, apparently you light a cigar with a wooden match because it, quote, preserves the flavor. I do love that Hellboy has, a shitty beat-up Zippo lighter that he probably got from one of the, many soldiers who raised him on an Air Force base in New Mexico.
Probably. He
acts like this because he was raised by a bunch of, World War II soldiers on an Air Force base in New Mexico, by the way. That's his entire personality, is just these guys who raised him.
Manning helped him enjoy a cigar better in the middle of this clockwork hell pit, so they're friends now.
Sort of.
There is a truce that has been called.
There is a truce that has been called. They're not, tremendous friends in the next one, but...
Meanwhile, we cut to Liz and Myers like, "Oh, he thinks we're dating. That's why he's mad at me." This dude is 5 seconds away from being Mouse at a Lady Hawk situation.
You could land the plane on this threesome, Myers, if you really, really wanted to, but I don't think he's...
He does not have enough charisma to pull that off.
He can't really pull it off.
And he's like, "So, do you like me, or...?"
And Liz is like, "The red, white guys are all the same."
Hellboy, by the way, has gotten into the tunnels and overhears them talking, presses his ear to the floor to hear it. He's like, "Oh, I found them. It'll be a couple of minutes till I find a good access point."
Meanwhile, Liz, Myers, and some red shirt wander into a room that is full of Samaels and Samael eggs.
It's got all these little wading pools. It's nice and humid and dark. And, it's got a door that can close them in.
Whoopsie.
Liz calls for Hellboy over the intercom, so of course Hellboy just starts punching the ground, and there's a lot of stone to get through here.
The red shirt has one of those grenade belts, but he gets got before he can actually set it off. It literally has a little egg timer ding noise when it's activated, which is what gets him got by the Samaels. I don't know who was responsible for that design, but I don't think they were smart.
You know what Guillermo del Toro loves? He loves little egg timer dings.
Specifically, jerking off to an egg timer ding in the case of The Shape of Water.
That was the subtext, yes.
Yeah. She was accidentally trained herself to come when the egg timer ding goes off. Watch The Shape of Water, folks. It's a good movie.
Hellboy ends up breaking through the floor and then crushes one of the Samaels with the ceiling that he is just standing on top of. Naturally, 2 more of the eggs burst out. They grew up so fast, those kids.
Yeah, this is an entire sequence of Hellboy punching to death an increasing number of Samaels.
Until Liz is like, "Myers, they are going to kill him. Hit me." And to his credit, he eventually does.
He requires a bit more encouragement, but he does eventually slap her across the face. Her fire powers start up, and then she's like, "You should be running."
That's so fucking hot.
It's so fucking hot when she says that.
It's so hot. And she walks into the water covered in fire, which starts steaming around her and immolates all of the Samaels and all of their eggs.
Yeah, somehow doesn't set off the grenade belt. Also, Hellboy is fireproof, so his coat ends up looking like Swiss cheese, but he personally is okay.
He's doing great, actually.
He's fine.
Myers eventually comes to. There's embers floating around in the air and ash, and Ilsa and Rasputin are there. They're like, "Oh, hey, thanks for the grenades, buddy. Let's go to the final scene."
Let's go to the final set piece.
Let's go to our big set piece.
Yeah, which features this gigantic stone plinth, this gigantic stone obelisk with 2 holes in it. The director's cut has the scene where they go and find this, by the way. This thing was the Tunguska event. This thing fell from space, blew up a large part of Siberia, and then the Russians had it in a warehouse for like 50 years until Rasputin, Ilsa, and Cronin just roll up and grab it and kill everybody who was holding it.
Nice. So Hellboy wakes up and he is in a stocks that is made specifically to hold him. There's a hole for his head, a hole for his like regular hand, and a really big hole for his right hand that has, Rasputin says, his true name inscribed along the edge that he cannot break.
Do you think they carved this themselves, or do you think this was a custom job they had to get from like a carpenter? It's like, we don't have exact measurements, but we think we can eyeball it.
There's also a statue of an angel, and Rasputin is reading from the book of Revelation about an angel, and in his right hand is the key to the bottomless pit. Do you get it?
Do you get it?
Liz is on this beer in front of him. She's naked. She's covered in a cloth. I don't know why they did. I mean, maybe all her clothes burned off, but like, okay.
Yeah. Usually her clothes are impervious to the whatever.
Yeah. Like, look, because Edna Mode made them.
And machine washable, darling. That's a new feature.
Ilsa refers to Hellboy's stone hand as literally the right hand of doom, and that is what it's called canonically.
Yeah, this is where we hear it in the movie. It's so good.
It's so good.
And Rasputin basically is like, hey, you want to open up the door? And Hellboy's like, fuck off. And Rasputin's like, okay, cool. And then he just draws Liz's life out of her.
He's like, in exchange for her soul then, and then sucks Liz's soul out, presumably.
It's like, great. So her soul is now on the other side of the door, so you're going to have to open it if you want to get her back. Oh, look at that. The eclipse has begun.
A blood red moon in the sky.
He has Broom's rosary and he throws it over his shoulder, tosses it far away from Hellboy. It actually lands over by Myers, who is sort of chained up against a wall near Ilsa. Myers is meanwhile awake and he's trying to work his hand free from the manacle, which is not going so hot.
It's not going terrifically. There's a lot of blood involved.
Hellboy says, fine, I'll do it for Liz.
And proceeds to recite his true name, which Rasputin gives him, which is Ano Munrama, which busts the pillory thing on his neck open.
His horn stubs start burning and growing out. The flame crown appears on his head and his arm is glowing. It's so unclear the way he's like popping his neck. It almost feels unclear whether or not his mind is still there.
Yeah, he looks gnarly. He is the beast of the apocalypse. He rolls up to that door.
It's got these two holes in it about shoulder height.
Yeah, that are suspiciously right hand of doom sized.
Ah.
There's a bit of a suggestive nature when he jams his fist in there and turns it. And it proceeds to open up a portal in the fucking moon. Hell yeah, folks.
Oh, it opens a portal in the moon.
We love a moon portal.
You remember that big obsidian crystal prison? Well, it shatters, baby.
Here are 7 squids. This is a 7 squid movie, folks.
This is a 7 squid situation, folks.
They start reaching their tentacles down through the clouds like we saw with the flash forward.
Myers, meanwhile, has finally worked his hand free of the manacle. His hand is screwed up. It is covered in blood. But he grabs the rosary and yells, "Remember who you are," and throws it at Hellboy.
Hellboy catches it with his flesh hand. It proceeds to burn a cross into his palm, which it has not done that before.
That rules.
And that sort of like serves as his like ouchies. And then his like, oh wait. He actually drops the rosary, but he ends up staring at the mark of the cross on his palm instead.
Yeah.
It rules.
It's so fucking rules. And then he reaches up, and he hasn't said a word here since he said his name, and then slowly reaches up with both of his hands, because there's still one lock to go, by the way. But he reaches up both of his hands, grabs his horns, and breaks them off.
Yeah. Oh, God, he does this a couple of times in the comics, and it's never not cool.
It always rules.
So yeah, he snaps his own horns off. Earlier, Rasputin was yelling about him how he doesn't have a choice, and then Myers was like, no, you do have a choice. And now Rasputin's like, what the fuck did you do? As the portal above them kind of fizzles out and disappears. Hellboy proceeds to stab Rasputin in the guts with his horns. His broken off horns.
God, with his own horns!
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
And says, I chose. Hellboy says trans rights.
Yep.
You can choose who you are.
Hellboy chose who he is.
But Guy tries to tell you your destiny is nothing more than what you were born to be. Stab him in the stomach with your own broken off unwanted body parts.
Oh my God, that's so fucking good. Rasputin is like, oh, you'll never fulfill your destiny and you'll never understand the power within you. And he's like, I don't need that. Whatever. Who cares?
In the director's cut, this is the part where he's walking away and then he steps on a busted up glass eye because the squid inside of Rasputin is coming out through his eyes.
Yeah. Oh, through his eyes. That rules. Because like earlier with Broom, he was like, hey, I came back and I brought a piece of my god with me. And you see something writhe underneath his skin. Now he's like, you have killed me, but you have brought forth a god because he's got evil tentacles in him. And they break out of his body and Hellboy's like, let's go.
We should leave right now.
Let's leave. He doesn't even seem panicked. He's like, yeah, I don't want any of that. Let's go.
That squid's only like 2 feet tall. I feel like I can come back and deal with that later.
He has also picked up Liz from the plinth, draped in this enormous cloth, and he is carrying her out princess style. And he's got Myers. He's like, yeah, let's go. And Ilsa is like, goodbye, Rasputin. Let's go to hell together.
She's like, hell will hold no surprises for us.
Oh, I think there will be some surprises.
I think there will be some surprises for the two of you, but anyway.
You know, good old-fashioned torture, the way it's supposed to be.
Pull out some fingernails, toss someone in an acid pit, fire up the old penis flattener.
Butthole spiders.
Huh? A chowder of pain. They will boil us up to your necks in a volcano full of scorpions.
Brains will be removed, studied, and batted about a stadium like beach balls.
Search from the spastic dentistry department down through disembowelment. Cover children's dance recitals through holiday weekend IKEA.
Your arms will be peeled like bananas. That part's just for fun.
Right. Turn a human inside out by reaching down their throat and grabbing their butt from the inside.
One endless baby shower for a woman I didn't know.
That was my pitch.
Back in the tunnels, Hellboy sets down Liz and says to Myers, like, keep her safe. And he takes the grenade belt. And Myers is like, are you going to be okay going in alone? And Hellboy's like, how big can it be?
Cue a tentacle.
Promptly gets grabbed by a gigantic tentacle and yoinked down a hall, getting the shit kicked out of him along the way.
Yeah, he gets smashed into like 4 or 5 lanterns hanging overhead and then dragged back into that final room because, oh boy, that's a big squid now. That's a really big squid.
He grabs a big fuck-off buster sword from a statue and starts cutting it up.
That only works for so long because there's a lot of tentacles. The squid grabs him, looks like it's about to eat him. Hellboy's like, oh. Proceeds to pull the pins on all those grenades, get eaten by the squid, and then the squid explodes.
It's some very, like, Men in Black, the bug explodes from the inside crap. It rules.
There's blue blood and guts and bits of squid everywhere. Hellboy looks like absolute hell.
And he just kind of grunts and lips off to where Myers and Liz are, where Myers tells Hellboy as he pulls up that Liz has no pulse and she isn't breathing. And Hellboy lowers himself down to Liz and he whispers to, I was so foolish, Liz. And then he whispers something to her. And there's this weird echoing whisper back, and suddenly she opens her eyes and breathes.
And then they hug, and then Liz is like, well, I heard your voice, but what did you say? Hellboy has this great bit. He's talking directly into her hair at the start of this, by the way, because he doesn't want to let her go. It's some good shit.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
It's some good shit. It's like, hey, you on the other side, give her back, because for her, I'll cross over, and then you'll be sorry.
Oh my god.
It's about the devotion.
Get you a man who would cross into hell to get you back and fuck up everything that's there.
Get you a man who will doom guy his way through the entirety of hell just to get you back.
And they kiss and she burns up, and of course he's fireproof, so they're just both covered in blue flame and it rules.
You gotta think that Guillermo del Toro was like, hey, a guy who's fireproof and a girl who is a fire starter, that's gotta be like the perfect couple, right?
He's right.
And then Myers is just in the cuck chair a couple of feet away watching this.
So, having nothing else to do, he does the closing narration of, like, what makes a man a man? It's the choices that he makes, not how he starts things, but how he decides to end them.
Hellboy says trans rights.
We get through some of the credits, because that's the end of the movie, but we also get a quick moment in the middle of it of, oh, by the way, Manning's still here, but they all forgot about him.
Yeah, Manning is still in Cronin's little f***ed up little lair, being like, hey, guys, it's kind of spooky in here.
But, you know, fuck that actor. So maybe he deserves to die in Cronin's little tunnels.
Anyway, that's Hellboy.
That's Hellboy! Mac, I am so sorry that your subtitles screwed up, so you missed a bunch of this movie.
That's okay. It was kind of like listening to an adventure of something I saw, but didn't quite understand what was going on.
Is this like we were describing to you a movie that you saw on an airplane?
Yeah, like I was watching somebody in front of me watch it.
7 times?
7 times before going to Turbo the Snail.
God, I almost think you should watch Turbo now, just to really cleanse the palate there.
Just to complete the experience, yeah.
Only the first 30 minutes, though.
Right.
Yeah, if you do manage to lay hands on this on like DVD, especially the director's cut, I highly recommend actually being able to watch it instead of kind of half being able to watch it.
Yeah. I think it would benefit from a rewatch.
It is on HBO Max, so when we do get HBO Max again, I can then watch it on that and actually have the subtitles.
Yeah, 100, because those have the pancake subtitles.
Those are the subtitles that say pancakes.
The pancake cut. That's Hellboy, folks. Monster Fuckery is real good.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. God, I like Hellboy a lot. It's a fun movie. Del Toro puts his whole heart into everything that he makes, and that especially when it involves monsters, which, like, Del Toro loves monsters. He loves, he says that, like, horror is directly political, and so much of it is about the othering and seeing the other as something that can be complex and sophisticated. And I think that carries forward into just this very queer reading of monsters in literature, in film, especially in more complex romantic or horror roles. Like, it's so good.
This movie is formative for me in a lot of ways. Like, I recently had a 10-year period where I didn't watch it, and then I recently rewatched it, I think, during COVID lockdown. And then I realized just like how much of everything I write has so much that points back directly to this movie.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It was influential and also really fun.
Yeah, I'm really glad it holds up.
It's good. And it's not terrifically comic accurate, but also the more comic accurate versions of a Hellboy movie are demonstrably worse. So, like, I think it's fine that it's not comic accurate.
Because that's the thing, right? Obviously, when you translate something to another medium, we talk about this all the time here, things have to change in order for the spirit of the story to remain the same. You have to change how the story is told, because you're changing the whole ass vehicle. And this really retains a lot of the vibe of Hellboy.
That whole scene with, like, resurrecting the corpse and asking it for directions, that's pure Hellboy.
All right, so I think this is going to bring us around to our final facts here at this point. Mac, what's your final fact?
Closed captioning are for people with ADHD, as well as people who are deaf. And for other reasons. Some people just like closed captioning.
Sometimes the movie sound mix is all fucked up, and the only way you can tell what anyone is saying is if
there are subtitles. And also, sometimes, for whatever reason, whatever is playing the movie just decides to fuck with the sound mixing. So that it's all very quiet, even if you have the volume packed all the way up.
Yep.
Annie, what's your final fact?
Comic book movies should look like comic books. And I don't mean that they should look like someone decided a comic book was a storyboard, because fuck you, those are two completely different things. But a comic book movie should look like it has all the care and style and beauty of the art within those pages. That is an important and integral part of the medium. If it doesn't look like a comic book, like it's trying to approach comics with the reverence and irreverence that they deserve in equal measure, then what the fuck are we even doing here? Kit, what's your final fact?
Accuracy to the source material is not required for something to be good.
Yes. Hell yes. Hell fucking yes.
Also, I said it last time and I'll say it again. When it comes to dialogue, less is more. Your characters need to shut the fuck up.
I think that's going to do it for us. And obviously we've convinced you at this point that Hellboy says trans rights, because obviously.
Trans rights!
What makes a man a man? Well, not his genitals, obviously.
Yeah, it's what he chooses. If he chooses to be a man, then he is a man, god damn it.
Yeah, if he chooses to be a giant red man with horns that are filed off and a tail.
Then is he single? Is he available? Do you have his number?
Give him my number, please.
Do you have his Call me. Does he have a brother? Or sister?
Yeah, giant red monster boys, please call Annie. Or sisters.
Any siblings at all? Yeah, anyway, monsters are great. Trans rights. Fuck Nazis.
Fuck Nazis. Trans rights. Monsters rock.
Join us next time for another absolutely inarguable fact that we will fight you about. I Will Fight You comes out every 5 weeks. It is edited by Lucas Brown of The Math of You. You can find us wherever you download podcasts. If you wanted to find us on social media, we are on Tumblr. We are also at crcpodcast.bisky.social on Blue Sky. If you want to find more information about us elsewhere, you can check our website, crookedrussiancam.horse or crookedrussiancam.gay. We also have linked there to our Discord, where we also post new episodes. You can talk about the shows, talk with, some decent folk. We've got some cool folk there. The increasing fragmentation of the internet. We're trying to make it work in a way that is at least functional. Hi. Also, patreon.com/thegem for a couple bucks a month. You can get early episodes of I Will Fight You. You can get behind the scenes stuff like show notes and things for our other shows, Date Me Damn It and Gem Jammer. All of that money goes to paying our editors, Lucas and Jake and Mac, for Date Me Damn It stuff. All of that money goes to our editors, and they do fantastic work, and you should say thank you with dollars.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
They're doing their part. Are you?
Some of it does also go to the .gay domain, which is not an inexpensive one, it turns out.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
It's just worth it.
It is so worth it to have, but it's not cheap.
Join us next time when we are going to be talking about a movie that Mackenzie and I kind of love for dumb reasons. We're going to talk about M. Night Shyamalan's Devil, which is also definitely better known by a better name that you have not heard before, but you're going to be like, why the hell would you call it Devil when you could call it that? And we will prove the fact that fake names can be better than real names. Join us next time for that. And until then, I'm Annie.
I'm Kit.
And I'm Mac.
And we have fought you. Lucas, I don't know if you want to do some kind of gag with Boney M's Rasputin song. Like, you just want to start doing the musical lead up whenever this guy shows up for a while. But that would rule.
Follow your heart, Lucas.
Occultist. 1938, he found the spirit of I write it out right. Spirit
of Longinus.
1938, he found the spirit of... God damn it. Hold on. Late Night Annie wrote spirit. There.
That's why. Spear of Longinus.
No, I know. I wrote the pronunciation down, but I wrote the word fucking spirit.
Okay, yeah.
Now that's probably everything. Maybe I forgot something. Who knows? Listen to our other episodes and see if I get it there. In the outro. It's different every time.
We have never once written it down.
I refuse. At this point, I refuse.